I know is like I'll have bad games and I might demote, but if I'm meant to be in that rank, I'll eventually get there again. So I don't really care too much if I have bad games or I demote. So
I love
I
that.
know like if I'm meant for a rank, I'll get there eventually. So I usually stay pretty calm after bad losses like that.
Yeah, I wish more players thought like you. Hey guys,
Um,
before we get into today's profile review, if you're interested in getting your own profile reviewed, just like the one you're about to watch, or interested in the things I talk about in terms of coaching, personalized coaching solutions, please check out the links in the description below. Let's get into the video. And you went from bronze 1 to plat, is that correct?
yeah, I know that was a huge climb. I think last year I didn't play the game so much. I'd play like ranked every once in a while, but it was mostly just like with friends kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I think end of preseason, or no, yeah, start of preseason is when I started like playing rank more, and I like quickly shot up to silver 2. And I was like, yo, I'm actually starting to get good. So this season, I just started playing a lot, and yeah, I've shot all the way up to plat.
Awesome. And you've done it with so many champions, which is impressive as well. Usually I don't see that.
Yeah,
Usually I
no, I
see,
actually
yeah.
something like um that I actually think puts me ahead of a lot of junglers in my elo is that I just have a good understanding of like 90% of the jungle champs. Like there's still some champs that like I'm iffy at, but I can be put on almost any jung champ and be pretty decent. So
Amazing. That's a really good trait to have.
yeah.
Okay, awesome. So pathing and tracking and objectives, they're all things we can't really fix in one call or on a call like this,
Yeah.
but it'd have to be through game reviews. But
Those are like long term, yep.
yeah, in general, pathing really comes down to who you want to gank first, particularly because of the junglers you're playing. Generally, there's a lane you want to gank first. And if in doubt, it's usually bot lane because that opens up dragon access. But you can also look at ganking, particularly for your first round of ganks, looking at your 3 lanes as an example and looking at which lane has the best setup. And what I mean by setup is generally, does your laner, do they have some sort of hard CC or clear engage that they can use to help you get your first gank off? And then what you usually transition to, and this is again just general theory, and it would need to be done in game reviews to actually solidify, but general theory is you always gank the lane that has the setup first, and then you transition to the lane that's going to carry. So this is a really good example, let's say, of this game where you would probably gank the top lane first because they've got the CC. You know, Rengar.
Yeah, I think this game too, I actually path bot just because I think Rengar went top this game and Sion actually went mid.
Got it. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, well, still, then you'd probably gank the Scion first, whatever lane they're in, because they have the most CC out of this entire team comp. And again, sometimes you're going to have team comps, and I'm just using this as a general example. May not have changed the win condition, but it's more a way to, I guess, think of who to gank first as like a theory, and then you apply it to practice and it's going to shift. You know, if Sion's pushed into turret, well, then you can't gank, obviously, as an example. But so you gank the lane that has the CC first, and then you transition to, okay, who is the carry in the game? And again, in this example, Varus 80 carry is most likely the carry. And in theory, that's how you should approach jungle, like ganking and pathing in the early game, first 15 minutes. But also, you know, if the Varus is literally like a first-time Varus and he's not very good, well, maybe you have to then, you know, pivot on the spot and transition your win con to the Rengar or something.
Okay.
As an example. So that's basically jungle pathing, how you should look at it in the first 15 minutes. And your pathing should always be based on where you want to gank next rather than what camps are up. Because I'm noticing that your goal difference, you're only a little bit ahead on all your junglers and you're in behind on your Sejuani, which is your most played. So it might seem like you might just be pathing based on your camps that are up and you're not actually actively thinking, oh, I need to path down towards bot in order to get my bot lane ahead, as an example. Because as you've said, the first 15 minutes are super important, and that's where the jungler is most, I guess, is most influential. Yeah, beneficial, influential, and that's where you control the game, and that's where you set up a lot of the junglers' win cons, which are like dragons, you know, Dragon Soul, good team fighting, getting lane opponents ahead, all that kind of stuff. Then in terms of tracking is generally quite easy. You've just got to be actively thinking about it. If you're plat 4,
Yeah.
I almost guarantee I could pause a game and you could actually think about it and be like, okay, this is where I think the jungler is. But you're probably just autopiloting in a lot of your games and not actually thinking about where the jungler is. For example, you can tell where the jungler starts by if bot lane leashes or not. Sometimes they'll fake leash, but it'll generally give you a pretty good understanding. And then from there, you can basically understand, well, they've only got certain ways they can go. And then every time they show up on the map, you can ascertain what they've just done and therefore where they're going to go for the next 90 seconds. So if they gank top, you can basically assume they've just cleared their entire top side, which means after they gank top, if they recall, they're going to go back to bot. And they're either going to path bot to top or they're going to gank your bot lane. And so you can have an idea basically of where the enemy jungler is in regards to which quadrant of the map, probably 80 to 90% of the time. And that issue of like knowing when to do dragon doesn't really matter where the enemy jungler is. It more matters about priority. So you more want to think about dragons of like, oh, if I don't know where the enemy jungler is that an issue? It's more about, well, do I have mid lane priority and do I have bot lane priority? Because that's actually what opens up access to jungle for the dragon, as an example.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But those are things we can definitely work on if you're interested. But yeah, those are good problems to have, and it's amazing. Again, I'm just so impressed at your recent win rates. You're doing really well. So I'm very happy with that. Are there any other problems you're facing?
Um, I mean, not really anything that's like commonly occurring.
Yep.
Um, I think yeah, mostly what I said, just mostly early game and what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some matchups that I struggle with. I've found the Elise
Yeah.
just her invading early. It's like,
Yep.
oh, am I starting the wrong side? And then just allowing her to come in and get like a free gank and then some of my farm or what.
Yeah.
But overall, then no really other problems, to be honest.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And so are you looking for coaching to improve these, or what are you currently doing to improve these, if anything?
Right now, I've been watching a streamer. You've probably heard of him, Griffin.
Oh yeah,
He's
Griffin. Yeah, he's very
Griffin,
good.
very good jungle. I mean, he has a few champs similar to what I play. He's actually the reason why I started playing a lot of Kindred and Rek'Sai.
Yep.
Before it was mostly just Kayn and Sejuani, but it was mostly just like watching him play and looking at it and doing what would I do, and then what does he do and why does he do it, and just like trying to figure out why he does it. Because a lot of the things that I struggle with is moving. Like I've had people like master tier or like even diamond tell me, oh, this is what you should be doing, or they'll live coach me in a game,
Yeah.
and a lot of the reason behind what they're telling me is I wouldn't get it because I wouldn't understand the why behind it.
Yeah.
Watching Griffin, I try to figure out the why, and then once that clicks, it's usually what helps me improve a lot on the champs.
That makes a lot of sense, and you'll find that a lot. Most players struggle with live coaching because they're basically getting told what to do, but they don't know the why.
Yeah.
And so what we've found is you generally want to do replays rather than live game coaching with players who need to understand the why, because you can sit there, pause, slow-mo, replay the event over and over again until we figure out the exact why, and the student's basically able to repeat it back. And that's how we like to train it, rather than telling you what to do. Similar, like, I guess, if you've ever watched Nice, he basically just tells them what to do and then yells at them. Whereas I find replay reviews, so you're like, okay, let's review this game where you went 8 and 10 as Kindred, and we'll focus on just the first 15 minutes, and that's all we're going to do for an hour. And we're just going to break it down. Okay, your first clear, this is what happened, this is what went wrong, this is why. And it's more about not me telling you why. It's more about getting you to understand and come up with the why yourself. Because if I just tell you, you're going to maybe absorb that information, but you're probably not going to actually take it in and then you apply it to your next game. So I really focus on making you, the student, come up with the answers and then kind of pointing you in the right direction until you get to the answer that's correct. And then going through that until you understand it. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So you've had a bit of coaching before. You've had some live game reviews. Has that just been casual with friends, or has that been actual through a coach?
It hasn't been like this where it's necessarily like someone does it as a job. It's been like people who are just higher elo that are willing to help out.
Oh, cool.
So,
That's nice. Awesome. And so, are you looking for kind of to try out paid coaching? Is that something you're interested in?
yeah, right now, well, not exactly right now, just because with the split ending, I mean, I reached my split goal, which is flat.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of take a break from the game because I've been working myself recently trying to get to the goal. But then, no, yeah, by the end of next split, I hope to definitely reach I'm pretty sure what the new rank is in between plat and diamond emerald, right?
Yeah.
So I want to be able to reach that,
Cool.
maybe even diamond. That would be like high end.
Yep.
But for right now, it would just be again hitting emerald. I want to try and at least do like now that they're moving into splits instead of just big seasons, at least going up like one division every single split.
Yeah.
Whether it be like now plat to emerald and then emerald to diamond or just something like that.
Yeah.
Steady goals instead of like one big.
Yeah, and I think on your current trajectory, yeah, emerald, even I think even diamond's a pretty reasonable one by the end of the year. I think that's a very reasonable goal that you can achieve once you fix these things that you've labeled. But you've also got a lot of natural talent here again with the 56% win rate, 70% in your last 20 games. I think you've got a lot of good stuff to work with here. Okay, awesome. Well, what we can do is maybe when the new split starts, I can reach out to you and just talk to you about what kind of coaching you might need. I would suggest starting off with probably one session, and then if you're looking for more regular coaching, building out a bit of like a monthly plan of okay, let's do, every 2 weeks, let's do a check-in, let's do some game reviews, let's figure this out. Okay, cool. And basically build a roadmap or a 3-month, 6-month plan of, okay, you're currently plat 4, how do we get you to diamond, and building that out. Based on, okay, we need to fix your early game. Cool. And then once we fix your early game, there's going to be a new problem and we're going to figure it out and we're going to list it out and we're going to go, okay, this is going to take, 3 or 4 weeks to figure out. This is what we're going to do. X, Y, Z. Solve it, and then there'll be another problem and another problem until we get you to diamond. And that's really the way you climb to diamond with a coach is you're basically just ironing out problems that they've seen and solved dozens of times before with other players.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, if you're worried about playing on this account because you're like, you want to keep the plat 4, but you don't want to, necessarily D rank, I'd suggest just playing on a Smurf or something. If you're still wanting to play before the split ends without sacrificing this account's, potential.
I mean, I don't really care too much about the account because something I've told myself is like, if you scroll farther down, there's like a game I had horribly on Kane, but I think I went like 1-9 just because I kept getting like early invaded by the Shaco.
Yeah,
I kept getting like early invaded and he'd take all my CS. And it was really just annoying because I would never get any teammates to come rotate and help. But then whenever I'd go in his jungle, I'd have like top collapse on me, mid collapse. I was just really tilted.
They're the worst
like,
games. Yeah.
The thing I know is like I'll have bad games and I might demote, but if I'm meant to be in that rank, I'll eventually get there again. So I don't really care too much if I have bad games or I demote. So
I love that.
I know like if I'm meant for a rank, I'll get there eventually. So I usually stay pretty calm after bad losses like that.
Yeah, I wish more players thought like you. Because that is the exact right mindset. A lot of people get very scared once they hit plat. They're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get back there. And every time I've seen someone get plat for the first time, and then if they demote, they always get back there. It's so rare that anyone ever hits a certain peak and they're never able to get there again. It just doesn't really logically make sense. So it's great that you're already thinking in that way, which is great. All right, cool. Well, we can wrap this up, but yeah, did you have any other questions or anything else you were interested in talking about? We got 10 minutes, so I'm happy to talk the shit or anything.
I mean, not really much that I can think of. I mean, if you just have any tips for now that like you can just quick throw at me or something, but I mean, I think we went over most of the issues.
Yeah, I think the big one is everything I was talking about with the pathing, tracking, objectives. So getting priority, thinking about gank focused jungling, or gank
Yeah.
orientated jungling, where you're always pathing towards a gank, and that gank is either the lane that has the gank setup for your first gank, and then the other
Yeah.
is basically the game win condition, which is the Varus.
Yeah.
And
I know
then
you were talking about too with like the golden ganking. Now that I'm thinking about it too, one of the other issues is some champs I'll either be like really farm like oriented or ganking, like just
yeah,
focused. I know like Sejuani, you said I'm usually a bit behind a goal, and that's because I know with all her abilities being CC, I try and go more for the ganks,
yeah,
and that's really when I don't focus on farm, and that's why I think I have like around 5 CS a minute averaging her.
yeah,
So just something like that happening. But then other champs like you see the Kane and the Kindred and even Rek'Sai, um, those champs they're really good at farming, and I'll do that. And then when I see a an opportunity to gank, that's when I'll go for it. Or more Sejuani, I'm looking for ganks and not really focusing more on the farm.
yeah.
So just being able to find like a balance between that and like when should I be ganking, when should I be farming efficiently? Because I have a good like general idea, but just being to like best prioritize it.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think you're actually doing it really efficiently. And what you're basically describing is champion identities. And
Yeah,
what you now need to understand is that the champion identities of Sejuani, Kane, and Kindred are quite different. And
yeah,
you're almost seeing that as a problem of like, do I need to make this consistent? And to be honest, you don't. Because Sejuani, as you said, you're going to be a lot more gank focused because you've got a lot of CC. And so you're going to prioritize farming less, which makes perfect sense in her identity and her role in the game to win games. And you can see, you got a 60.8% win rate on over 97 games. And then similar to Kane and Kindred, where you're seeing ganks more almost as an opportunity. That's correct. As long as you're just, again, pathing towards where, you think the most likely opportunity is for your Kane and your Kindred, well, then it's fine. And you're still getting those really good results and getting the higher farm. But that's just the nature of the champ. Sejuani's never going to have as high farm as Kane and Kindred, and if it does,
yeah,
well, you're doing something wrong on Sejuani rather than doing something right, if that makes sense. So I think you've generally got the right track. It'll just be nuancing and focusing on that early game to make sure there aren't these major issues that are going wrong. Because if you've identified that as something that's going wrong, there's probably some big things there that we'll need to fix.